Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to another little shobity chat. So right off the top, thanks everybody for giving me some warm wishes, leaving me a bunch of comments and stuff on the last little one. It sounds like you guys kind of you're, you're probably like me a little bit. You dig this sort of thing. It's in my mind, it sort of like just ties into the whole art studio friendships thing that everybody always wants to get. I remember doing streams and stuff for a little while, and everybody would always talk about like Discord or some other like a Skype or something like that, where you could just sort of have this thing going in the background, and you could hop in, and whoever was in there, if you wanted to just shoot the shit, go ahead while we're drawing and working and stuff. And this kind of thing is sort of like that in a way, right? There's more and more of us doing just maybe not just streams, but this audio stuff it's always it's a nice little break and change of pace to have in the background. So I'm assuming that's what's going on with this kind of thing. And then again, thanks for checking it out. And now that I'm saying it out loud, I'll leave it up to you guys. Leave a comment below if you guys are interested in possibly setting up I don't know. I'll leave it up to you guys. I'll leave it up to the professionals. You guys seem to know more about this stuff than I do. My age is starting to show. But if there's like a Discord or something where we could all maybe it's just there, and if you're in there and you got a headset, go ahead. You can talk. Or if you just want to listen to people talk, I think that might be kind of cool moving forward with some of this stuff. And then I realize that most of us we're not doing this full time, and those of you that are full time, if anybody's even listening to this, you guys probably have your own small little circles. As an example, a good friend of mine, Will Robson, which you guys, if you've been following me at any time, you know of him, and I hope you're reading his stuff out at Marvel, checking his book. So he's doing great. He was telling me that there's a few of them, the Marvel kids. Marvel kids, the Marvel boys, and they have I think it's Skype. I think they have their own little group, and they just pop in from time to time and just shoot the shit. So it's a thing. It's a real thing, and I understand it. We're all working by ourselves all the time and all that stuff. But I don't want to go too much in that. I just wanted to do a theoretically quick thank you, and I appreciate everybody's stuff here. Right off the top, before I get into what I wanted to talk today about, which was the why going, I talked about it yesterday about the decision to sort of pursue Marvel again, DC, like pretty much all the publishers, right? And I'll get into that. I just wanted to sort of it does tie into a question that Lars, how's it going, buddy, had left, and I won't read it all. You guys can go back and kind of check this stuff out. In so many ways, he's saying, he's feeling a little bit lost. He says he's battling depression and stress right now. He's been doing a lot of soul searching the past month and a half. I can totally relate with you, man. And he's sort of interested in why I'm pursuing the Marvel thing, because most of you guys know I flip flop, just like just like anything. But I will say that flip flopping, it's annoying more than I think it's bad. It's bad when you continually do it and you're not learning from it and growing and trying to get better. I think the reason why we flip flop is because we're not sure. There's a lot of doubt, a lot of question marks, right? It's easier to continue to do what we have always done, for better or for worse. And I don't want to bring this book up every freaking show now. But again, I can't recommend it enough. The War of Art, read it. And I would assume, or I would like, for me, what I started to really realize and hone in on after reading it was this. The big takeaway from that book is resistance, and that's like the thing that a lot of artists, not everybody, but I would fathom a lot, go through and fight. The idea again of coming home after work or before you get up in the morning or anything like that, whenever you're going to draw, but just looking at your art desk or your computer that you're going to draw on, right? And it like pulsates resistance. Like you look at it, you're like, ugh. So you get to it, and then eventually you open up a browser, and now you're on social media, and then it's just a spiral downwards, right? And that's really the battle. But what the author, anyway, what he suggests is that a form of resistance is fear. And again, I have never had depression. Like if that's what you're going through, I totally sympathize with you. And I can relate in some areas of that. With the what I'm calling the burnout that I kind of had there, and it's messed up. You're not right like your headspace isn't correct, and it's the soul searching I find is you can get lost pretty quick, and especially if it is fear driven. And I there was a side of me that wanted to like be the man, be the man. Men don't fear necessarily, right? We just sort of we tackle, we do the thing, and it's more emotional driven. And I think women are more well handled to be able, or well suited to be able to tackle problems that require emotional response. Most of the men I know, guys I know, we don't handle it very well. We don't know how to handle it. I don't know about you. I grew up pretty much, like suck it up, not in a horrible way, but it wasn't like I remember my dad crying I think once or twice in my whole life, and that it fucked me up seeing that, just because like this guy was like that hard guy, and I remember I would pout and all that stuff all the time, and it was always like stop crying, do something about it kind of attitude, right? And that's fine. That is what it is. But so when I had to realize that, yeah, it's fear, and this sort of, and again, Lars, that's why I'm sort of talking about this, because it does go into the Marvel thing. Is fear was definitely a driving force behind it, and that's the resistance that I had. So what? To sort of tie it in, and maybe you'll get something out of the reason why I'm going, or I'm pursuing this as an option, not as the option, and it might help you out if this is something you want to do, or something related. I know you're talking about teaching and things like that. So, so the Marvel thing, the reason why I stopped before I was doing JESOP, or no, I was doing JESOP King and stuff, was I had been given from what I understand, there's two sample scripts floating around. So if you get in contact with an editor, you're probably going to get one of two. The first one is it's a Doctor Doom versus like 14 or 16 superheroes, ranging from Spider-Man and X-Men and different kinds of X-Men. It's like a big fight with doom bots everywhere, right? So it's like armies of people, and you could probably understand why they would send that to people. So that was the first one I got, and they're 5 pages. Since I reached out 2 days ago, they got back to me and they sent me another one. And this is the second one. I thought they would have just had me do the Doctor Doom one again, but this one's Spider-Gwen against the Vulture. So it's just one-on-one, but it's a female and an old man. You see what they're doing? This is the same thing that people have been telling you, or you've probably heard for like 20 years now. When you make your portfolio, have the old people, the young people, men, women, kids, policemen, all that kind of stuff, right? So when I sat down to do it, I always get headaches and stuff when I'm doing the thumbnails. That's the hardest process. I need to be in silence, or have some like background music without lyrics going, because there's a lot of thought and breakdown. So that's the hardest part for me. Just actually executing and drawing, whether it turns out awesome or not, that's more mechanical. I can just sort of do it. So as I was doing the Doctor Doom one, I just started to realize that there wasn't an attachment there. I felt not hollow, but like it's client work, right? Just because it's a different skin, it's established characters. I thought that might have been the thing that differentiated it from independent work. Like when I worked on the Standard or the Hero Code or any of the other books I worked on that are all indie driven, I felt the same, and I thought there'd be a difference there. And there really wasn't. And what I was noticing was that I'd go to work full time, and then I come home, and then I wanted to impress Marvel, right? Like I want to show them the best I can do, and I don't want to take forever to do a sample script because I want to show them that I'm capable, right? And then this goes into the other side of it. Like, do you know how many people in the world are trying to work at these companies? Like, there's a bajillion of them, and I would go ahead and say maybe even 20% of them, will use the golden 80-20 rule, and 20% of them, they're not like working full-time jobs, right? They might not be working at all, or they're working part-time, and that means they're putting more hours into the craft, right? So there's this battle that goes back and forth, and you have to be aware of it, right? You can't go into it blind. It's there. It's never going away. It's normal. And just being aware of that shouldn't scare you. It should just be that's reality, right? So in saying all that, I was just drawing it. Felt pretty, it didn't feel as magical as I thought it would have. So just that's when the burnout started to hit, where I started to go like, so why am I just working? If I feel this way now doing this, let's say I get a full-time gig at Marvel, whatever the hell that means, right? I get a full-time opportunity to work in comics. Is it just going to feel like work? you know, and that's where the problem hit, because I hadn't. I thought I had figured out my why, and I call it this my why. The reason why you're doing what the hell you're doing. I thought I had figured out like 2 3 years ago is when I had my big switch, and it was helping me big time. And it was more of the my why was just making comics because I want to be a comic book artist, right? And it's still, in hindsight, that's so open ended that that doesn't even mean anything. It just means something that you do. It doesn't mean like why you're doing it, right? So I just, the soul searching part is what I was doing, and that's when I started to skirt on this, like, so what the hell have I been doing the last 15 to 20 years? If now that I get my, like, this isn't my shot to break in, right? Like, I've given up on, or not given up, I've discarded that thought process because it's not right. We all have so many options nowadays that you don't have to go to these publishers, right? And I'm well aware of that, and that's why I want to keep doing JESOP King, because it still hits the same thing. It's mine. It's my own little thing, right? And I get to just fall in love and have fun and have it break my heart, and as well as give me happiness and joy. It's a thing I get to create. Um, also in that book as well, here we go, right? It's like I'm Bible thumping this book. He's Stephen Pressfield, the author there. He talks about, and again, this is romanticizing art, so take it for what it is. About the muse. I don't know if you ever heard about them. The muses, I believe they're, what is it? Some Zeus banged somebody. They made some children, and those are the muses or something like that. You guys know the mythology with that. Zeus is just hitting everything and making everything, right? So the muses are responsible for humanity's like the arts, So the spoken word, music, art, anything creative or whatever. That's the muse, MUSE. Check it out. It might not be for you, might be whatever, but and I kind of believe this in a way. And when he was wording this, it sounds a little hocus pocusy, but I guess it just depends on information you have that might make it aware. You might make you go one way or the other. So some people might call it religion. Some people might call it just the Force. Right? By the way, Star Wars is coming out in 14 days, I believe, at the time of this. Super pumped. Whatever it is, but I kind of agree with what he was saying, where there's like the idea for him anyway. The muse is, it's like there's like reality, the planes of reality here, right? And this is the one we're in, the physical one, right? But there's this ethereal. I'll just start using gross words because I don't know the exact terminology he used. Like an artistic, creative, higher self reality out there that is trying to contact us, and we're trying to always contact it. And that's sort of like that romantic battle back and forth. If we just let our true self be a funnel for the muses or your specific muse or whatever, you're sort of the door. And this starts to sound like demonic and stuff. I'm already hearing it, but it sort of lets the muse channel through you to present and give art to the world that, not that it wants, but that it already exists, and you're just the vehicle to get it there. And some people might not like the sound of that, and I understand it. I'm just the messenger here, right? Some people would like to think that everything they create is just theirs, and God bless, do your thing, do whatever you got to do. But in my soul searching, right, in the journey that I got to currently, what I have found out is is just taking the stress off yourself. It's not just, for me, what made me comfortable. And I could see how people could fall. I don't want to say fall, that makes it sound like it's a trap, but religion, right? I could understand where it's sort of like you take some of the burden off yourself and you give it to an imaginary thing, whether you think that imaginary thing's real or whatever, or in my case, the muses, whatever, like things that are relatable, and you let them kind of carry the weight and guide you so that you don't have to make every critical decision. And I could see some beauty in that. And I don't know if that's an age thing or what, but I would recommend trying that out. It might work for you. And just to swing it back, so when I was thinking about the Marvel and all that stuff, I wasn't having fun. What I had to do was just come back around and really ask myself, like, why have I been doing this for 17 years or whatever, right? Was it because I absolutely love comics? No, but comics were at the time, and this is around like early 90s, really, maybe even late 80s. I remember when I was a kid, I used to get like those Ninja Turtles adventure comics. If anybody remembers those are real friggin' sweet. Uh, that was my introduction to Ninja Turtles too, by the way. Or no, it was a TV show, I think, or somewhere they bled into each other. But it was the storytelling is what captivates me. And I still remember when I was younger, making my own comics and stuff for sure. But like reading even those Ninja Turtle comics or whatever little comics I could kind of get rarely, right? Is that when I would read them, it was a story for me, and I could read it anywhere, right? Imagine a world where there's no tablets, computers weren't even really anywhere, right? And the fact that I could just take this book, and it was like a little magazine kind of thing, and beautiful pictures, to a kid anything's really good looking, and you're flipping through it, and it was awesome. But what has progressed me through all this is the storytelling. That's the part that gets me excited. So, long story short, to kind of wrap that up, the reason why I'm trying again for Marvel is because it is storytelling, and it's not. I was looking at it the wrong way. I was looking at it as an escape from, let's say, the day job, and to get into, that's the transition thing. I won't say that Marvel or DC or any of these companies for me are like the end all be all, but they do help my, what's the word I want to use here? They help me in my journey, however long that's going to be, of being able to tell stories for people. And that makes me like, just saying it makes me feel comfortable and confident. Let's say we'll talk business for a second, right? If you were hired by any of these companies, and you do want to do your own personal work as well, you're going to get an audience that's there. Even a few people, right? Like, it's a way to expand your audience. In my opinion, it's not really any different than making your own thing and just posting it on social media. You're still doing the thing, except it's for somebody else. But in today's day and age, when people find an artist they like, they check you out. They go see what else you're doing, what else you're working on, right? And that's a good thing. It's another avenue for me to tell stories and to expand an audience. And really, that's, what else is there? If I can have a bigger audience to share my storytelling, for better or for worse, that my current skill is, right? Then I'm all right. And that's really all that it comes down to. So, I guess to summarize this, because I want to wrap this up. We're already getting, man, I knew these rants are going to get longer. I want to keep these, like I said, around 10 minutes, but we'll see. 10, 15 minutes, now we're at the 20. But long story short, you got to really, if you can, I know, or I imagine it's very difficult because your headspace isn't in the right spot. One thing I would recommend that's a 100% or fixed me up real quick was start going on like 40-minute walks or like an hour walk. Fine. Because think about it this way, if you're stuck in your head going like, I need to be working, but you're not in the right headspace, you're probably not going to be working really anyway. You're going to be farting around on the computer waiting for inspiration or like the drive to actually sit down and draw to kick in. Go for a walk. Get out of the house. Go look at, like, as you're walking, looking down alleyways, like, don't go in there. Don't get dangerous and stuff, Don't be a crime fighter here. So looking at stuff, textures, pick up rocks, pick up things, touch things, like as you're going, get connected again with the world, and I think that'll help you. It helped me. It helped. I don't know how it did, or if it just got my brain to like shut off for the moment and just focus on what was in front of me and what I was looking at, and fresh air. That thing's, fuck, man, like super important. Go do that. And after a day or two, as you're continually going on these walks, then start thinking about, like, why did you even start to do this in the first place? If it's something like people pushed you into it, like you were the artist in school, everybody liked the way you drew, and that's why you just stuck with it, that was when you were younger, and now things might be different. Teaching might be the thing that really gets you excited. Teaching and letting other people grow from your, like, water whatever metaphor that is, right? That might be the thing, and try to go. One thing that I found that has helped is try to go back as far as you can in your memory of what got you excited creatively. Right? Like, if it was taking apart machines and putting them together again, like, you're probably going to be a mechanic or something, But, like, if you can go back and it was helping your friends or something, I don't know what the teaching thing would be, but you'll have to go back. And I think you'll find, because when we were younger, it was pure, right? Pending you didn't have, like, a horrible childhood or something. But go back to, like, a time that you remember you were able to, like, I guess, be yourself. And it wasn't for anybody else necessarily. It was just you in wonder. And I think you'll be okay. You'll be okay doing that. So I wish you all the best, Larry. Please keep leaving comments, and I hope you get out of this funk, dude. And that goes for everybody else too. There was other comments here. I'll do my best to reply to everybody, but I do appreciate everybody's warm comments. And if you guys want, again, leave comments, I can always talk about them. So that's the Marvel story. We'll see what happens. I don't. Did I really even talk about? Yeah. So I got the I got the Gwen Stacy stuff. Yeah. Excuse me. And I got the Gwen Stacy stuff, and I'm gonna be working on that. So what I'm doing today is so I'm very one of the lucky things of the job I have currently is every second Friday we get off of work. We have to work or we work an extra hour every day during the week, so we get every second Friday off, and every other Friday from that we get done a little earlier. So it's great. Today's that Friday that I have off, which is really good timing. What I'm going to do is I'm thumbnailing right now the Gwen Stacy 5-page pitch, and then I'm going to jump into thumbnailing issue 2 of Jessup King. Really excited about that. It's funny. Ever since I kind of got out of this little rut, it just seems like I'm back to my old self, and I know I just said bye to Lars on that one, but just keep doing your thing, and you'll find who you were and the thing that was happy, and you'll just get clearer with it, and you'll start to. He'll come back to you. He'll come back to you. So we're working on that, working on the Jessup King stuff. I don't know what time, that should be around noon is when I want to wrap up. I don't know if I'll be able to do, I think Jessup King, the second issue here is 24 pages. So I don't know if I'll be able to thumbnail the entire thing. I might be able to. I'm noticing here with like the Gwen Stacy, or the Spider-Gwen, I should say, sorry, that script is that it's somebody else wrote it, so I have to see the vision in my head, and that takes longer as opposed to my own thing where I'm just writing plots and I just kind of like wing it as I go. But we'll see. For the rest of the day, I don't know. I think I might just go back to one of these things and start getting them set up for the digital stuff. But I'll let you guys know how that goes tomorrow and all that cool stuff. But yeah, thanks again for your time. I wish you guys all the best, whatever you're working on today. I hope it kicks ass. Okay, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.